I was talking to someone recently who had this high-flying business. It was super successful out of nowhere, made all sorts of money, got all sorts of wonderful public attention, and then it turned. The business failed, and suddenly they weren't held up as this business success, but as an example of a business failure. And I told them one of my favorite passages from Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius says, "We're like a rock tossed in the air. We gain nothing by going up and lose nothing by coming down." None of this says anything about us as people. He didn't gain anything by being made emperor. He wouldn't have lost by losing it. None of it, Marcus Aurelius says, means anything about us as people. Even though Marcus Aurelius says we must avoid false friendship at all costs, even though he's betrayed by his trusted general Avidius Cassius, we know that Marcus doesn't harden his heart. He doesn't close himself off from the world. He's ready, as Michael Scott says, he's ready to be heard again, right? He constantly is putting himself back out there. But he does learn from this, and he's a little more guarded going forward. He makes this analogy in Meditations. He says, you know, you're in the boxing ring and someone's cheating. Maybe they're gouging or biting or scratching. He says you don't quit altogether. You just change your fight plan accordingly. This is one passage that Robert Greene quotes from Meditations quite often. You don't quit, you don't storm and go home, but you are aware of who you're dealing with and you adjust accordingly. The short lines in Meditations are the best. Discard your misperceptions. Stop being jerked around like a puppet. Limit yourself to the present. They're just a couple of words. They say so much, and they cut through so much space and time. He never uses two words or one will do. He doesn't beat around the bush. He just comes out and says it. And the advice is so clear and so obvious. Try to imagine the Emperor of Rome, this man of enormous power and wealth and prestige, trying to tell himself not to be a person of too many words or too many deeds. Pretty remarkable that he's even at that level talking about simplification. He's talking about modesty, talking about restraint. It's a beautiful thing and a very rare thing, to be sure. In Meditations, Marcus Aurelius is constantly pointing out how few people remember the emperors who came before him. Who remembers the name of Vespasian? Who remembers this person from Hadrian's court or that one? All these names are forgotten. But he's saying this to remind himself that one day the name Marcus Aurelius will sound unfamiliar.